Hi, viewers out there at home. Good morning this morning. We want to say thank you once again for joining us on this, the 10th episode of Complicated. It's been a long way, right? 10 good weeks of bringing you nothing but the best on our program titled Complicated. Today promises to be once again another intriguing edition, and we promise you that we are live here to give you the best information about relationships, right? About the dilemmas and the dramas that come with relationship, right? And as usual, we'll always love to introduce ourselves. I'm your boy, of course, Yemi Ogumilade, and I have
Belumi is my name.
all right in the studio this morning, and
And I'm Asia Falana or Asia.
I love the way you pronounce your last name, Falana. All right, once again, this is Complicated, the show that talks about the intrigues, the dilemma, and the drama that comes with relationships. Even from the beginning of this whole, series, we've been talking about relationship, talking about issues, so many things.
Yeah.
And here we are at the 10th episode of this season. We promised you it was going to be 13 episodes in season one, and we are on the 10th one. So that means we just have a few more to go, and we're done. What will come next, I can't say, but from the stables of life events, we always bring you excellent series, best top notch, information at its, peak. So this morning, in our normal way, we always do throwbacks, right?
Yeah.
Throwbacks on what happened last week. And I know I was in the studio with Asia last week, and Pelumi was not here. Once again, I want to say welcome back.
Thank you.
Last week we talked about a very funny, we come with funny topics. That's the good side of complicated. We come with topics that we now break down one after each. And so last week we talked about my punch, my love. And I know it was so heated in the studio at some point where we were very honest. I know you watched the show, and myself and Aisha were honest about these things. My punch, my love. I think I know Pelumi was not here last week, and I'm not putting you on the spot, but I want you to share your own view about my punch, my love. I mean, someone is being molested, someone is being, beaten, battered in a relationship, and the next thing you're still talking, hey, my love, I love you. Could that be love in an abusive relationship? Just let me hear your view even before I turn to Asia this morning.
I personally think that the issue is on both sides, but I will talk on the side of the receiver of the punch now.
The receivee or the receiver?
The receiver of the punch. I'd say that I think one of the issues here is that people don't know how to recognize what love is or recognize love. For example, if you grew up in a family where you constantly saw your father, batter your mother, as a man, you might grow up thinking that that is how to give love. You must be very stern. You must be very, how do I say it, rigid, and the woman, if it's a lady on the other end, she might grow up thinking that that is what love is. If my husband is not beating me, or my partner is not beating me, for example, he has not loved me. So we've heard situations where women women actually say that they like when their men have been abusive. It does happen, but I think what should happen is that I think everybody needs to have we need to unlearn and relearn certain things when it comes to love. What is love? What is healthy love? How to recognize love. And I would say there are people that, they've blessed our society with wonderful books that you can read and reorient yourself before getting into a relationship, for example. So yeah, I do believe that the way we view love is a little crooked, especially in our society, and it has to. The only way that we can fix that is when we relearn, or unlearn and relearn certain things. Yeah.
That's more like a reorientation, right?
Yes, that's correct.
You know, Pelumi, I always like your perspective and your insights when you talk about some things. Brilliant, very brilliant, very brilliant. I love that. Anyway, once again, if you're just joining us, this is Complicated, your most watched online series, talking about the dilemmas, the dramas, and the intrigues that comes with relationship. And we have this 10 a.m. every Saturday. Like I always say, we like serving you breakfast while on your bed, right?
Yeah.
And please feel free to subscribe to our YouTube page at Officials of Life Events. Please subscribe and share. And on Facebook, we are always live on Facebook at Life Events, just Life Events. Please go there. Make sure that, you're always there every Saturday, 10 a.m. And don't forget, we're on Instagram too at official.lifeevents. We want you to be part of this program. We want you to contribute. And one of the ways we want you to contribute is by calling us on our WhatsApp number on 317. If you're calling from, of course, outside the country, it might be +1 317 406 6469. Now, if you notice, the WhatsApp number has changed. We've been using a different WhatsApp number in the last 2 to 3 episodes, but we've changed to the initial one. So please, do not be stereotyped and just feel, hey, I want to call the last one. You might not get a response. So please and please call us on 317 406 6469, and we will be in the studio to talk and converse about some of these issues that has to do with relationships.
Yeah.
And just in our normal way of a disclaimer, we are not relationship experts, neither are we professionals. In the course of this program, if we get some of the best therapists and professional hands, we'll let you know. We'll communicate that to you so that if you have relationship issues, you could get across to them.
Yes.
But please, we are just here to put out these conversations, and don't quote Pelumi for what she says. Don't quote Asia. Neither would you quote me. We're just speaking some of our experiences. You might learn from them. Yes, you might learn. All right, let me just turn to my intriguing Asia once again. You know what I laughed? In the last episode, I said she was my favorite host. And, I just corrected myself. And I said, also Nola, and she said, no, this is live on TV right now. So, you said it already. It's recorded, yes. So, Asia, talking about My Punch, My Love, I know we were both in the studio last week, and we spoke about these things. Let me hear your views once again. You might have slept over some other things concerning that. You would have probably got more insights, right? So let me hear your views.
Piggyback off of what I said last week, actually, I'm retaining my position.
Okay.
Just like what Palumi said, most people don't understand what love is, and most people don't know how to show love. So sometimes people show love in a sense of, if I'm beating you, it's because I love you. And like Palumi said, some women think if he's beating me, that means he loves me. So, but the thing is, that's not love. And that's just what I said last week. That's not love. Because if you love somebody, you will not be abusive to them.
Sure.
One example that I gave was men who beat on their women. Let's say they have a child who's a daughter, who's a female. They have a daughter. Would they want another man to be beating on their daughter like that? So that's something that we have to understand. Like you said, we have to unlearn and relearn some things, because sometimes it's the way that we probably grew up, and we probably just don't understand what love is.
Exactly.
But do not punch the person that you say you love. it goes for men and women. So that's just what I want to say.
I've heard crazy stories about women. Just gonna shut up.
What story we want to hear?
I've heard stories of certain people
Okay.
beating men, but it's okay. And honestly, it's not only punches can come in different variations and dimensions. You can be emotionally abusive. You can be mentally abusive. Honestly, there's no abuse that is good. Men, especially men, I think men are more emotionally abused in their relationships because women can be emotionally abusive. So whatever kind of abuse that you're going through, it's not cool. It's not accepted. If you are the abuser, and if you are the abusee, or whichever side of the coin you are at, like I said earlier, it is always good to seek help. That's the first thing. Because this thing is trauma.
Yes.
It never really, if you have been abused before, you've witnessed abuse. Maybe you grew up in an abusive home.
Yeah.
It's trauma. It stores up, somewhere in your consciousness, and you really don't know when you start exhibiting those things that you're playing out, those things that you saw as a child. That's why it is important for parents. I'm not a parent yet, but I will be one day, by the grace of God. Before you give birth, really, it's very important. Like child raising and childbearing, it's not an easy task because kids pick up on little things, tiny details, things that you don't even know if they're still watching. I have a vivid memory of something as a child that happened, and that memory has never left me, and it's a bad one. It has never left me, So it's important that I think it all kind of spurs from that whatever it is being done in an household or whatever they've seen as a child can transfer, into adulthood or go with them, not really transfer, but go with them in an adulthood. And they kind of start acting off of that. So it's very important that parents are very careful how they raise their kids, what they're doing in front of their kids, and how they are basically raising the children. And that's,
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and truly, you spoke my mind right now because the truth is that whatever parents in the home do, these kids watch.
Exactly.
You'll be surprised at what if you tell a child to mimic the father or the mother, they would do almost exactly what their parents do. So parents out there, let's be also very careful. Even upcoming parents, let's be careful about some of those things we do. Even if you need to talk to your wife or your husband, don't do it in front of the kids. Or if you need to do it with love. These are some of the things that these kids pick up and, they run with. And and these children are the leaders of tomorrow. Just like we always say, they are the future. They are the ones who will become husbands, who will become wives. In that kind of home, how do you raise, thinking about it, right? In an abusive marriage, the kids say, is it possible, unless a child wants to become good? Like in my language, there's an adage that says, my parents bore me, they gave birth to me. Then I rebirthed myself. Sometimes people don't rebirth themselves. They just replicate what they saw in the home and bring it to their home. And I've seen people talk about these things that I'm exactly like my father. I know there are some good parts of my father, but there are also some bad side of him that I don't want to emulate or, but I think that was probably just a conscious effort of myself not being, but not everyone has that consciousness.
Exactly.
It just, flows. So it's something that we must be very, 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 very careful about our utterances, our actions. Even if you are annoyed or you are mad at something, don't show it. Go behind closed doors, talk to your wife or your partner, talk about it, and when you're coming out. I remember last week I told Asia about that I never saw my father lay hands on my mom, and this was true. My big sis chatted me later and said, "You just at times you just talk about exactly what happened." She reminds, I remind her about what happens in our home, right? Not to say that my parents never had issues, but one thing was sure. I remember this incident that happened. My parents were having, as a kid, you just know there's something wrong. They will smile. They will smile. But I noticed once they locked the door, there's a conversation in, and my father's room was then, I remember, and I know my sister is watching me right now. It was, my daddy's room was a sacred, it was like an altar. You don't go in. You needed to be allowed. You needed to remove your shoes. You needed to go in clean. You dare not go into my dad's room anyhow. So I remember that we can't go there, but we used to hear them talk. Like all of a sudden when they open the door and they come out, in my mind I say they're smiling, they're holding themselves. I'm like, what's happening? And but as I grew up, I got to know that there were ways to handle these things. Don't show it in front of the kids. Even if you're mad, just be calm, be cool, go into the room, settle it, and come out smiling, right? And one of the things that would also help is make sure when you get into that room, settle it well. Settle it well so that, because if you don't settle it well, even when you come out,
you might put up a smile, but it's obvious
still, so, some of those things. And, so once again, we are still live on Complicated, and I'm here with the studio with Pelumi and Asia, still talking about some of the throwbacks we had, last week. And if you want to reach us, talk to us, please reach us on 317-406-6469. It's on WhatsApp, please. Do not call on the normal call. Call on WhatsApp. And we'll be here to take your calls, and we can talk about some of these things. And we want you to please comment. Your comment really matters to us. Your comment has made us become better people. Your reviews have made us become better on this program. And we want to say thank you. Before we continue, Asia, I don't know if you have anyone on Instagram that you want to give a shout out to.
I do. Shout out to Bonita Obasui.
Okay, Bonita, thank you.
Thank you. And make sure you share this with your friends, your enemies,
your exes,
everybody, and your exes, so they can learn a thing or two.
Yeah, I'm telling you, share it with them. They can learn one or two things. Some of our exes are watching us and seeing how these things are.
That is very true.
Yes.
We learn. This is a program where you can learn. Learn. It's more like a reorientation, like you said. You can learn one or two things. I got better with something we said on this show about going out. If it's not monthly, make it quarterly with your spouse or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and talk about what happened in the quarter, how you guys can get better. That was a high opener. I think it was Pelumi who raised that thing. It was a high opener to, despite the fact that I've been long in this in marriage and relationship, but it was a insight to me. Say thank you for bringing that up. It has helped me. It has probably helped me become a better husband, a better man, and a better father. Yeah. So thank you very much. Right. So very soon we're going on a commercial break, and we want you to make sure you stay tuned. Call us. Reach us on Facebook, on live events on Facebook, and on Instagram. Do not forget, it's official live events. And YouTube, if you missed any of our show, you can catch up on YouTube at official live events. And please do not forget, don't leave that YouTube page without subscribing. Subscribe so you can get notifications once we come online. There are a lot of materials on that YouTube page that can be beneficial to you. Not just about relationship, but about events, the trends, about what's happening about everything around the world, both in North America, Africa, and every part of the world, right? So please make sure you go there and subscribe, share, just like. Tell us something you feel we're not doing right. Tell us something you think we can improve on. And if you have topics you want us to dive into, to talk about, we are here to talk about it. And would always be here to review some of those comments, get better, and be the best we can for you. Without you out there, we are not, or we are nobody here, right? You are the ones who watch us, you are the ones who comment, who make us know, how we can get better and how we can improve on some of the things we do. Once again, we want to say thank you to our Instagram fans, thank you to our YouTube fans, and above all, thank you to our Facebook fans.
Thank you.
Very soon we'll be going on some of that social network. So just stay tuned. We'll be communicating to you about some of the networks that will be, on, even live at every point in time, right? This program is still complicated, brought to you by Life Events. And we'll be going shortly, very shortly, on a commercial break. And when we come back, it's still Asia, Pelumi, and Yemi Uncomplicated. Stay tuned.
Thank you. Thank you for coming today and joining today's show. We really appreciate you joining us on this beautiful day. We are in Indianapolis, Indiana, and thank you for joining us wherever you are in the world. My name is Pelumi, and I have Yemi and Asia here in the studio with me, and we are still uncomplicated. All right, thank you for joining us on Facebook. We love to read your comments, and don't forget to call in. We're going to be here to listen to what you have to say. All right, so without further ado, we're going to dive right into today's topic, and I'm going to give it to Yemi to introduce us to the topic of today.
All right, thank you very much, Pelumi. We normally don't bring up the topic till the second segment of the program, just to keep you in a little suspense, right?
Yeah.
And so today we're in the studio to talk about the topic titled Relationship Boundaries. Relationship boundaries. and we'll be talking about mostly about the physical boundaries.
Yes.
And the emotional boundaries. That's where we're going to be concentrating today. It's a very robust topic, but
That's
we're just
very
going to be
true.
limiting it to physical and emotional boundaries. So, in the first place, what are boundaries? Right? Those are like limitations. You cut the lines. I mean, you set a standard, you know,
Set of rules.
rules and all that.
There's a line.
Line
Cross.
you can cross. Now, are there supposed to be rules in relationships when it has to do with physical and emotional? That's another question that is embedded in this topic. So, I'm going to turn to my intriguing Asia so that we can start this conversation.
Yes.
And as you know, let's see how it goes, Asia. Over to you.
I see how he reverted to me. What a gentleman. Let me go first. But I would say like physical relationship boundaries.
Yeah.
We can start off like in dating because I know there's certain things or it becomes a little bit different when it's a marriage.
Yeah.
So let's talk about dating first, and then we can kind of move up.
Yeah.
But dating, there should be boundaries
Okay.
in the sense of where are you both on? Like, what page are you both on?
Okay.
So I know there's certain people that say no intimacy before marriage. And then there's some people who say, oh, well, we can just kiss, but we won't get there. But
I'm liking this topic. All right.
But one thing that I believe or that I think, we're not relationship experts, so I'm just giving ideas out there. Kissing and touching leads to something else.
Yes.
So, is it that you decide that you do not want to be intimate at all, no touching, no nothing while you're dating? One thing that comes, and the reason why I say there should be some type of boundaries is because both of you guys are not on the same page
Okay.
at that instance. Because sometimes there's, it's a relationship, but let's say, women, for example, or they say giving the cookie out. They say.
Okay.
He said okay. But yes, and then if the man is getting that all the time for free, then he's probably not going to make any steps forward for you guys to be in a relationship, as in a marriage.
I agree.
Yeah. So I think that's where there should be boundaries, because if women or men, if you're getting something all the time and you don't have to put any title or any boundaries onto it, you're going to continue doing the same thing because you know it's going to bring you the same results.
Right.
So I'm going to open up with that, because I see me over here just like smirking and smiling, because I know he probably has a lot to say. But I'm going to start
before
off with that.
before you get started, I'll kind of say something off of what
Yeah.
you said. The world is diverse. People have different orientations. People have different beliefs.
Yes.
But there is one thing that I found to be true. When I was growing up, my mom would always tell me, as a lady, to protect what you have.
Yes.
Because if you, and I think it's just like I said, it's just a general knowledge that when you give what you have, like you have a treasure, you have a treasure, and you give it to somebody okay, let's say there's this, well, if you give your pearl to dogs, what are they going to do with it? They're going to trample upon it, put it in dirt,
Chew it up.
chew it up. Thank you. And at the end of the day, your value is not going to be, your value will not be valuing. At the end, your value is not going to be valuing at the end of the day. So I strongly believe, I know there are so many things about 90-day rule, 50-day rule, whatever rule you want to go with. I just believe that it is better, you see, it is better. The way my mom would say it is that what is kept hidden or what is preserved is what has value at the end of the day. If you're just throwing it out there to every Tom, Dick, and Harry, at the end of the day, whatever you're carrying is going to be valueless. That's just my opinion. Before they come back to me, I just wanted to throw that out there.
All right.
Yeah, me
This topic is going to be it's going to be heated up at some point because
It's already starting up like the fire is like getting lit. You can see the lighter like.
okay. Going back to the definitions of boundaries. Boundaries are setting the rules, right? Setting the lines, setting limitations to some things. That's that's what boundaries are. But I take my my cue from just listening to both of you, and I know that you guys are speaking from the feminine perspective, and I respect that.
As we should.
Yes.
Women.
Yes.
Exactly.
So we'll let you talk about.
Okay.
She, her.
All right. And I just wanted to quickly say this. Yes, boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. This is good. But how do I
I'm anticipating.
get?
I know. I'm looking at him like,
How do I know
what you're gonna get into?
what I'm going to get into?
Here we go. I have to scratch my head.
They have come again.
Because no, ladies. I mean, I wouldn't. I love when I go to the Mola's kiosk to go buy suya.
And then you taste.
I love to see, and those suyas have different flavors, especially when it comes with different spices. So I mean, for those who don't understand what suya is just a meat, a grilled meat. I mean, smoked meat that has a lot of, sweetness. And so when you go there in the local market, you kind of, you don't even need to tell him. He cuts it for you. The malam or the man selling the meat will just cut it and give you one piece. And tells you, oh, this pepper is this pepper is this pepper is this. So, and you try to taste. Sometimes I can be that nice to taste only 2 of the pepper, of the spice. Some people just want to taste like almost all the 4 or 5 spice, right?
Okay.
And when you put it in your mouth,
Okay.
you kind of taste the first one, okay? The second one. And at the long run, and I'm just telling you this is real. And at the long run, you are able to choose this is best. This is good.
Okay.
And that is even multiple. What if it was even one pepper?
Okay.
How would I know that this tastes well?
All right. Thank you so much. That's a good question, and I have a best answer for you.
Okay.
I just want to say before you even have an answer. So now it's being compared to meat.
No, don't get it twisted.
saying.
Hey, let him compare it to
No.
meat. However he wants to compare
Guys,
it.
I'm sure I'm speaking your mind today.
No, that's not true.
Let them comment. We want to see your comment.
Okay, comment. Let's see.
So you used the analogy of the meat, or you used the meat as an example.
The
Thank you.
The spice. So have you forgotten
Yeah.
that the meat or the spice is actually open, is exposed? It's not packaged in any way. Hold on.
You've not
But
said.
hold on. But hold on.
Have you been to? Sorry, Pelumi. Have you been to University of Suya somewhere in Abuja?
No.
You will see package.
No.
Okay.
Never
That's-
been.
that's-
I don't know what that is.
Okay.
So,
So
Okay.
do you go to Walmart, for example, and want to buy
meat.
meat?
Pack steak.
Thank you.
I got you, girl.
Thank you. Want to buy pork steak and then try to taste it.
In the
Why?
store.
So which one has more value? Is it the one that is packed and packaged well with the labeling and barcode and everything? Or the one that is just displayed on the streets where flies and insects and rodents of every kind are pecking on it?
All right.
And
I love this.
You're going somewhere else.
I love
No,
this.
tell us.
I love this. Now, I love the analogy you also
No,
used.
no,
Why I
you-
used mine, you used yours. Perfect. But I want to say this and put it out there. that would it be better I have a good taste outside than going to Walmart, to a well-packaged store, that I don't know what would have the transformation or what would have transpired before that meat got packaged. And I take that package home, open it for grill, and I discover it's not good. What happens? I take it back. Now, I'm trying to tell you that taking it back is more like a divorce.
Okay, that's
I would rather,
This is getting somewhere.
that's not true.
I would rather,
That is not true.
I don't know if,
That's not
I
true.
mean, please, your comments and your calls will make a lot of sense.
this-
Reach us on 317-406-6469. It's getting down now. Let's go.
Okay, so this is the thing.
Okay.
That is why the front is for entertainment and the back is for information, people. That is why when you go to Walmart, they give you the expiry date. They give you information about where the meat is coming from, all right? So you can sensitize yourself, right? Or give yourself much more information about what you're buying. That is why the information is there. But going to the Malam by the side of the street, for example, selling meat, I don't even know if it's human meat. Have you heard stories of those Malam selling human meat? So I'm telling you, people, do not buy things on the street. You don't know if it has been infected with different kind of diseases that is not curable. I'm telling you, these things are real. People die from sexually transmitted diseases because they're not protecting themselves. Thank you very much. That is my own stand. I hope I have been able to convince and not confuse you that buying packaged meat is better than going to the Malam to get it. Thank you very much.
I see where it's getting started, but I feel like it's coming with something else. Because what if the same thing happened to the packaged meat,
Okay.
right?
All right. I hear you out, ladies. Now, what if it's true that the manufacturer has written the expiring date, the shelf, in fact, some of them put the shelf life, right?
Exactly.
And a lot of other information. But in the process of production, we've seen, being a quality assurance person, I've seen good products being recalled. Yeah, I've seen good products being recalled for obvious reasons.
Okay.
You might be producing a mass made, and don't get it twisted. Some of these things you see in the store are mass production. They come in mass, and that's why they have what they call batch and SKUs. I'm not taking you into the quality world, but I'm just trying to make you understand some things. And so once it comes in batches, trust me, that means it was under mass production. Anything done under a mass production
Okay.
always have issues. And that's why you will see some of these things getting recalled.
Okay.
Recall for me might become a disengagement, a divorce, so
Or
many.
it could be that a recall means that you're taking yourselves to therapists or to professionals to better fix your situation, and then you get something better out of your relationship. That is what a recall is.
Before this gets
Let me-
heated,
why
let's get back
not-
to topic.
No, we're getting back to it.
Okay.
We're getting back to it. I believe that this is helping us better explain what we're saying. Now, for example, if you go to Walmart and buy a packaged food,
Okay.
there is an opportunity, if it is bad or if what is saying happens, that you get it recalled. Who is going to recall if you buy bad product when you go and buy it from the Malam?
So this is how it happens, right? If
Who is going to conduct the survey to know that it was
the
bad?
probability of you having a good taste. We're coming back to the real context.
No, we're coming.
I know we're just trying
I
to.
have facts for you people.
So
I will bring it out.
So when you go to a side malam, as much as I've been privileged to go to very good clean malams, right? I don't settle for less anywhere. Anyway,
How do you know they're clean?
You know, because I've seen them kill these meats, this cow, and sometimes, yes.
No.
Listen to me. Listen to me.
about his
I'm
experience.
talking about my experience. I won't just go to, a malam or, but even apart from the malam, the street pastries, some of these things happen. What we should just say at this point is that if it works for you, taste.
If you buy,
If it doesn't work for you, keep.
you buy-
But I've seen situations in relationships who I lived somewhere around Bagada, West Africa then, and I saw this family. They actually told us, it's not like, that they didn't have any connection throughout the relationship. It was church, and
they
of
didn't-
course, nothing, right? It was, I think the marriage lasted for just 9 months.
that's an exception.
Yeah.
That's an exception.
Listen, just listen to me. And 9 months is just 9 months. It is, Belumi, you would I want us to tell, I want
have
us to be
data.
frank.
I have data
And
that proves
tell-
what I'm saying is true.
Our viewers
All
out
right.
there, some of these things.
Let's get right to it.
Okay.
According to the National Survey of Family Growth, they collected the data between 2022 to 2013, and this is their final judgment
Okay.
that women with 10 or more partners were most likely to divorce, but within the recent years. So women that has had, or men or women that has had 10 or more partners before they got married were most likely to divorce. Women with 3 to 9 partners were less likely to divorce, and women with 0 to 1 partners were the least likely to divorce.
Okay.
So
let me just say this. I'm not a student of statistics.
okay,
That's one.
okay,
And most of the statistics we get out there, they take samples,
from who?
just a few people.
That's true.
That's not
So and I'm telling, see,
It's not the
as
whole
much as I
world.
told you I'm not a student of statistics, this is what I do. I did it in school, but
don't believe
the
that.
reason why I said I'm not a student of statistics is because
I don't believe
I
that.
don't really believe in it, right? It works sometimes, but in this issue of relationship and marriage, I have seen it. I have seen it all, and I will just tell you the way it is.
If you have had multiple partners before you got married, there's a higher chance that you're going to compare.
Of
And
course.
if you're going to compare,
Multiple.
and what we have talked about on this show, if you remember, that comparison is a thief of what? Of joy.
Oh, joy.
So if you're comparing what your current partner is doing to all the multiple partners you've had, there's higher chance that you're not going to be satisfied in that marriage. Whatever your man is doing, even though he's doing his best to satisfy you, you will never be satisfied because you're busy looking at what Tom did to you 2013.
All
So
right.
that means there should be boundaries in dating because it's gonna get to where.
That's what I'm
you're
saying. Especially if you're the type, which I don't believe in that personally. If you're the type to do what do they call it? Test and
Test
try
and trial.
or whatever. You're testing waters everywhere. If you're the type to do that, it is advisable to not be intimate. Because at the end of the day, once when you're done with your trials and errors, you have ended up with, like he was asking, they're going to ask you about your body counts at the end of the day. You see, those men that are advising you
All right.
to go ahead and do it, they're the ones that are going to come back at the end of the day and ask you about your body
Yeah.
counts.
But
So
Lumi-
if you have tested waters with 50 men and you've slept with all those 50 men, just imagine what you're going to be getting yourself into when he asks you that difficult but important question to men: what is your body count?
So, thank you very much, Pelumi. You've spoken your mind. I saw you draw up your facts, which, like I said, I'm not of that school of.
Okay.
However, I heard you mention something about multiple.
Partners, yeah.
In English, multiple is more than one, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So, if they had 2 relationships. Literally, I don't think there is any marriage in this or out of 100%, let's say 2% percentage of anyone in a marriage who has never had more than 2 or 3, 4 relationships before they got married. Do you agree with me?
I would say more than one.
Yes. So,
More than one.
in that context,
I wouldn't say 2%, though, but
I'm telling you the truth. We see these things every day unless we don't want to tell ourselves some of these things. But let's go back to the context of what we're talking about. Boundaries. I know we've talked about boundaries, and we're still going to come back to this before we
yeah.
close
Yeah,
because
we need
I
to.
still have some things I want to say. But one, because of time, we're just going to talk about, we've talked about boundaries in relationships. Let's talk about boundaries in marriages. What do you think, Pelumi?
I don't believe that there should be boundaries in marriage. If both of us, we've agreed to be partners, I believe we're in a partnership and we should work together. I know that there are certain, I'm a woman, there are certain times or seasons in a marital journey where even medically sex is not allowed, especially, for example, after you've just given birth. I think they say give 6 weeks or 8 weeks.
6 weeks. What a time.
So medically, I know that there are seasons where you are actually not allowed to have, sexual intimacy. But that is why it is called sexual intimacy. There are other forms of intimacy that can be adopted in the marriage. We all have needs. Let's not lie about that. Men, I would say they're more prone to such needs. Okay, so that is where understanding comes in. I've heard stories about men that if you are not doing, you have to do. If you are not doing, we are not going to settle this matter. I believe that understanding, especially between partners, is very important. It's very, very important. If my wife, for example, comes back from work and she's really tired, or she has cleaned the house all day, if you're a full housewife and that's your own forte, good for you. I love it. You've cleaned the house all day, you've taken care of your children, you've taken care of your man, and then you're just tired. It happens. You should be open to, exploring other options to satisfy each other if, sexual intimacy is a no-go for that time. And the men on the other side should also be understanding and not be forceful about it.
All right. Asia, let me hear from you.
I'm actually seconding what Pelumi said. I believe in marriage, I wouldn't say there's boundaries, but we should be able to, because when you become a couple, when you guys are wedded, the woman and the man, you're supposed to satisfy each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very true.
That's the reason why you guys got married, so you guys could be able to do that whenever and however
Exactly.
you guys want to do it. So, and it also keeps your partner from stepping outside of your relationship as well.
That's very correct.
Yes. However, there are times, like Pelumi said, where the woman might not be, in the mood.
Other men.
Or the men, yeah. I was going to actually get to
The
that.
man? Do you know it's
actually
hard
trying
for a
to
man
get
not to be in the mood? Yeah, and sorry for cutting
no,
you.
that's okay.
You would hardly see a man where when a woman needs a man, that a man will respond. Apart from if he's going through, you can hardly find a man who will tell you he's tired. I'm tired from work. A woman can give you that excuse normally, and that's because of their chemistry. But a man,
A man can say he's turned off, though.
it depends on what has started turning
I
off
believe,
a man.
I believe when I was reading something about it online, I believe that, and actually from personal experience too, or not personal experience, I'm sorry, from stories I've heard. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, please.
A disclaimer.
Yeah, a disclaimer. I love that, Pelumi.
From what I've heard, men are more, they're like focused, they're one-sided.
Okay.
For example, if they're thinking about work or they're thinking about something that they haven't accomplished, they don't have the ability to think about something else at that time.
Men.
So if you're, for example, if I'm thinking about how I'm going to put food on my table and this woman is, giving me all the signs in this word, men may not be able to say. That's just what I'm saying. So men, their mind, exactly.
Yeah.
They don't know how to diversify their emotions, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, on the other hand, women, even though they're not in the mood, they can always
in the mood.
they can
Just to keep
always
their man, right?
just to keep their men satisfied.
Yeah.
But I don't think men know how to do that. There's this word that they use: just do it and get out.
Just do it. Please don't do that because it's
it's an
just do it
attitude.
and-
It's an
yeah.
attitude of just do what you want to do and go. But I don't think men can do that.
No, man.
Men
It's-
cannot do.
I-
I want to
I-
give you what you want
want
so that you
and-
can leave me.
no.
Yeah, no.
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 So
They
yeah.
also have to get in the mood.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Men are kind of always in the mood. I remember
No.
something I saw.
Men have urge.
The
That's what
urges
it
for
is.
men, I mean, is more. But talking about that, I quickly want to say this, that we've had situations where a man was accused of a rape in a marriage. What would you say about that? Because normally we're just talking and saying that there should be no boundaries. What God has joined together, let no man put asunder in a marriage. But the man wants it, right? And the woman is repulsive. She's repugnant about it. She doesn't want to, And so when the man is like, I need this thing. This is a godly man who doesn't want to step out. He doesn't want to do otherwise. And he doesn't have other means to satisfy himself. In the current day where we are, there's a lot of masturbation. There's a lot of things going on.
That's the factor, yes.
But this man is not that kind of person. If he's not in there, it can't be. I mean, if it's not Panadol, it cannot be Panadol. So, and that's what he
I don't
wants,
know what
right?
that is.
Okay, it's just a saying. Panadol is a pain reliever, right? So I won't take Tylenol for Panadol. Panadol is Panadol, right? So,
Jesus.
and this is what the man wants. And so when the man tries it, and at the long run, the man, okay, do and go. And the woman later said that was a rape because it wasn't. I didn't consent to it.
The woman, you just said the woman said, okay, go ahead, right?
She didn't say go ahead. The kind of
The
without
man
saying
was
anything.
forceful.
Like, you are my wife.
Yes.
Give this thing to me.
That's where I was going to get to.
Would you
because
consider that as rape
anything that is against your will?
in my marriage, in the woman I paid a
Whether
dowry
it's
for?
marriage, whether it's a relationship, whatever it is, even if you pay like a whole world for it, whatever is forceful, that means you guys are not consenting to it. I mean, that's a definition.
Okay.
However, should occur in marriage, that's two different things that we're saying.
Yeah.
So that's why I said, like, in marriage, there shouldn't be boundaries, but we also need to understand there's sometimes
It
there's gonna be
happens.
times that either the man or the woman might not be wanting or might not be in that mood or ready to do that. But if the woman is saying, no, I'm not in the mood, I don't want to do it, or whatever it is, and then the man says, well, I have the urge and I need to satisfy my urge, and still continues to do that,
Right.
technically it is considered rape,
Mm.
whether it's in marriage or not.
Okay.
Wow.
Yes. However, I feel like men, if you have that urge and you need to get the satisfaction out of the way, you could be able to talk to your woman, or even if it's just touch, just prep her, because sometimes women will get into the mood even if they're not.
When you prep
Yeah,
them.
you can't just go there. I want it. No, you have to try something to be able to get that woman into the mood.
Of course, and I say this, ma. There are sometimes the man tries that. So
Okay.
of course, you're not supposed to. We're not log of wood. Women are not log of wood. That you just get into the bed and tell them, please get this out. I want to go in. No, you like one of my friends would say, you need to knock. You need to talk well. You need to caress. You need to make her get those arousals before you go into it. I know some men don't have that patience. They just want to get to Jerusalem straight up, But it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that, right? So we are supposed to,
Jerusalem.
talk about it, I was watching one. It wasn't a motivational speaker, more like religious. She said that normally, if you want to get your man or the woman, from the early morning when you wake up, begin to prep him. Begin to tell him some things. And I know women know when a man wants these things. I know. But it's hard for, at times, you can't just tell these things. But the truth is, when you want your partner, there's that body language that can be exhibited, and they will know we're
That
ready
this
to
is-
go.
Yeah, but to even add on to what we're saying, like, I'm a firm believer in, if you're in marriage, you're supposed to satisfy your partner.
Exactly.
Whether you're in the mood or not. Because at the end of the day, you want to do everything to be able to keep your partner, whether it's the man or the woman. So even if the man wants it, you don't want it as a woman, as your duty, as a wife, you're supposed to satisfy your man.
I know that can make some people go off, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what
Yeah.
it is. And like we said, we're not no professionals. We're speaking on our experiences or experiences that we know.
Exactly.
And I mean, if you have an opinion, you have an opinion. I mean, it's a freedom of speech in this
Exactly.
world we're
Yeah.
residing in. And as a woman, you're supposed to satisfy your man. As a man, you're supposed to satisfy your woman.
And both, I think it goes just both
Both
ways,
ways.
right?
Yes, exactly.
That's what marriage is for, right?
Yeah.
That's what
and
marriage
and
is for.
for me, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
And for me, like, first of all, I want to say, if you're in a marriage or, well, not relationship, because I don't believe in that. If you're in a marriage and you're not getting satisfaction from your partner when it comes to sexual intimacy or any intimacy at all, I want to say I'm sorry, because it is a painful situation to be in.
Yeah.
You know, having
That is very important in a
It's-
relationship, in a marriage.
no matter how we want to talk about it,
Yeah.
sex is an important and integral
Fragment,
part
yeah.
of a marriage. There's a reason. This is my belief. This is what I say. There's a reason why we were created by somebody. Like you creating this phone, and you've put in, the dial button, the message button for a reason, and it's there, and you're not making use of it. Let's say your call button is not working on your phone. You know how painful that
Painful
could
it
be?
is.
That's the same thing, There's a reason why sex was created in the confines of a marriage, for pleasure. And if I have needs, I've waited all my life as a single person, and then I'm getting married and I've gotten married now and I'm not getting the needs, my needs satisfied. That could be really painful. So it comes down to, and me, I'm a firm believer in intentional living, intentional relationships. Be intentional. Like we've all said, I think that's one thing everybody has said, is that we need to work together as a team to make sure that we are both satisfied. I was listening to a beloved couple, I love them so much, on YouTube, and they were talking about how they were able to navigate that period when she was pregnant. She talked about the fact that when she was pregnant, she had a very terrible period during pregnancy. She was throwing up like 18 times a day. She was losing weight. And obviously she knows that the husband has needs. So they looked for other ways to be intimate, They could just cuddle while going to bed, creating that, there's a satisfaction that comes when you just hold your wife, to bed.
Yeah.
And they also looked for other ways to satisfy each other. It's as simple as that. There are so many things that can be done that can relieve,
Of.
relieve both partners. And this is just for educational purposes. We're not trying to be, nasty or anything, but that's the truth, We
We're
should.
humans.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, people really need to know these things, because sex, as it is, destroys marriages.
All right. That was very thoughtful of you guys. Seeing it from yet another perspective, right? Thank you, Pelumi. Thank you, Ashir. And once again, if you're just joining us, this is Complicated, your favorite air show that comes live 10 a.m. every Saturday. And we always bring you very, very interesting topics every week. We've done very good topics in the past, so we want you to go to our YouTube page, our Instagram, and also Facebook to check out some of our good works that we've done in the past. Once again, to our viewers out there, we want to say thank you for always viewing, for always commenting. And if you still want to call us, you can reach us on WhatsApp 317-406-6469. And for sponsorship and adverts, please do not forget to still call us on that same number, and we would advertise your products and get your products across to the right set of people who would patronize you. We would give you the best prizes ever. Quite a competitive prize. And want to say, please keep bringing in those calls. And if you also want to have birthday shout-outs, please, you can reach us on the same number. We'll be willing to do some of those things for you so that you can celebrate your loved ones out there, right? Very shortly, we'll be going on the final commercial break. And when we come back, we'll be sealing this topic titled Boundaries in Relationships and in Marriages. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
See ya.
Welcome back. We're still on Complicated, and of course, I'm here with Yemi and Palumi. Yes. If you're just now catching this video or this show, you can always turn back on official Life Events. That's on Instagram, on Facebook, and you can always go back to YouTube to catch any of the episodes that we had at official.life event, and that's without an S. And I do quickly want to give a shout out to my brother, Abdul Majid Falana. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. And I also want to give a shout out to a very dear brother and friend of mine. His birthday is tomorrow, Oluwasegun Alade. I love you so much, and you know that you've been an awesome individual and an awesome addition to my life. So thank you. Happy birthday to you. Kisses, I love you.
All right, guys, once again, we want to say thank you. We're back on this show and on the final segment, right? And we're talking about relationship boundaries in relationships and marriages. And we've had a lot of argument in the studio this morning. But not to poke the bear, I just want to quickly go back to something about what Asia said, that about the women, especially in relationships, giving out the cookie free. I want to quickly also say this, that men are not also ready to give out whatever they have free.
What?
It's as special as ever, and we're proud of what we have, right?
No.
And
yes.
Please. And I know Palumi also talked about treasure. Yes.
Yeah.
Men have treasures too.
Yeah.
What we have and what we're endowed with are also treasures, and we want to say we will keep them safe and sound.
Yes.
We wouldn't mind keeping them as long as, But on a more serious note, I've come to realize that a lot of people use the 90 days rule.
Oh, yeah.
And not giving credit to a particular motivational speaker. I love him so much anyway. Talking about Steve Harvey. I know he's a big fan of the 90 days rule.
Yeah, he wrote about it.
Yes. So, but trust me, I have daughters too. I have male kids too. So what Asia and Pelumi have been saying is right. Very, very correct. Trust me, it's very, very correct. You're a treasure. Keep it as much as you can. Yeah. Even though you see me arguing some of those things, you know it happens, right? But I want to raise those kids in that manner. Keep the cookie. Keep it. Right.
Locked in a jar.
Yes,
throw
in a beautiful jar.
Throw the key in the ocean.
No,
whoever finds the key in the ocean can come and get it.
It's hard to when you throw it in an ocean, it's hard to find it. Please,
Because there's a lot of keys in there.
There are a lot of keys.
That is why it takes the right man who is ready to do the right thing to find the key.
Yeah. So please, it's whatever you keep that you value, and it's whatever you keep that it's been valued by the other person, right? Yeah. So just be.
I have a question.
Okay.
So I know we're saying this, right? But in reality, right? There's people who get in relationships and they do have goals for themselves. They do want to end up getting married. No, they want to end up getting married. They want to end up together, raise a whole family. Because of that love for each other or that attraction to each other, pre-marriage, they end up, being intimate with one another. It does happen. So, because there's people who probably watching like, oh yeah, we were intimate before, but we're married now. So there's people who are watching that way. Yeah. So what is our take on that?
I personally believe that, and that's why I'm saying I personally believe, because it's my personal belief. If you have decided, and like I said, like you said, there are so many people that even now maybe they've had partners in the past and they've engaged in premarital whatever, and now they're looking to get into new relationships, and they're saying that I've been sexually active in the past. How do I go about it with my new partner? And that's where it comes to setting those boundaries, knowing what your limits are. For some people, I was saying yesterday, they can sleep on the same bed with their partners. They can stay in the same house for 50 days, which is not advised. But some people can do that, and they wouldn't have that inclination to have sex. But some people, they cannot even stay 50 feet. It's pew!
It's pew! Pew!
I can't. I'm asleep.
Look at them, 50 feet away from their partners. It just, again, jokes aside, it just comes down to knowing what your boundaries are. Don't stay in places where, especially if you know that you people are deciding not to go that route. Yeah. Don't stay in places where this thing, don't be found in compromising positions. Because again, we are humans. Yeah. Popular say is, body no be firewood.
Yes.
That's the truth. And it's a slippery slope. If you started with kissing, it's going to get worse. Forget it. Maybe you feel bad. Yeah, you feel bad the first day. The second day when you do it, you're not going to feel bad about it. And then you progress.
There will be a progression.
First base, second base.
And then you until you touch base.
Until you now touch the base.
So, honestly, just be truthful with yourselves. I mean, we're humans. Honestly, there are some people you cannot touch them, their bodies, and it's okay for you to have bodies like that. God created those emotions for your marriage. Yeah. So it is important that we keep it until then and know what your boundaries are. Set realistic boundaries. Be accountable to somebody. Tell when I'm going, you see, sometimes we just think that these people of the Scripture Union community, they think we used to think that they were doing too much. But honestly, it's the truth. If you're going to see the man, tell somebody. Take somebody with you if you know that you cannot take it. I know a story of somebody. I know a story of somebody that said, while they were dating, because they were agreed not to go there, whenever the lady comes visiting, he will open the door wide open. The door of his room.
I heard a story like that too.
Yeah.
So it really depends on being truthful with yourself and knowing what your boundaries are.
Yeah, well, what you just said triggered something that I was listening to an American preacher, a message. He said something. He said he wants to be thankful, just the way you said, be accountable. He said he had a friend, right, and there was a girl who was singing in church. I mean, they were singing. And he said, okay, we're getting married, no intimacy and all that. And they told one of his, like a friend, that please help us be our guide and all that. So he said, one of those days, the girl came to visit. And his door, he never has his door and window open. But that friend was coming by and saw that his car was there, saw that the girl's car was there, saw the window and the door was closed. He tried it. He said the guy started knocking throughout the windows in the whole house. He said, and the guy said that was the saving grace, that was the day it would have happened. And he said
that's
he would,
why the doors and
you know, he said until the guy kept banging until they came out, and fine. He said initially he was annoyed with the guy, but later he now saw this was the guy that, you know.
That's the guy they chose.
At times like that.
Yeah, at times be accountable. So guys, it's been a good time spent in the studio today. Talking about this very, very, very interesting. I knew it was going to get to this today, right? So I want to say thank you for being in the studio this morning to talk about this thing. And most importantly, to our viewers out there, our fans on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, we want to say thank you. For everyone who came online today, we really appreciate you. We might not have had the grace to call you all, but we want to say thank you. It's been worthwhile today talking about relationship boundaries. We've learned one or two things, and we want you to keep it at heart. Learn from it. We are not experts, like we always disclaim, but we'll keep these conversations going so that we can learn one or two things. On behalf of everyone in the studio this morning, I want to say thank you for being part of this edition, the 10th edition of, Complicated. We appreciate you. On behalf of the producer and everyone in the studio, will say thank you.
Thank you.
And I want to say thank you to our producer, Yomi Chat, and Ajoke Sharifat for holding firm and making sure this program comes to reality 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. We want to appreciate you. And for everyone behind the camera, Olamide, we want to say thank you. Special thanks to you for always making sure that the cameras are on point all the time. And special thanks to Korede Ogumilade, who is the logistics person. Thank you, thank you. And to Taiwo Ogumilade, who is our still photography personality, who takes us very good pictures. We want to say thank you. On behalf of the management and crew of Life Events, we want to say thank you for all you do. And we want to say keep watching Complicated, 10 a.m. every Saturday. Join us same time on the 11th episode next Saturday. It's goodbye and God bless.
Thank you.
See ya.
See ya.
Let's take it real.